Welcome back, everyone. As we mentioned earlier, we have Dr. Eddie Conner here in the studio with us. He's the spokesman for the American Cancer Society. He's a prolific author, giving us about one book a year. And he's the recipient, this is so dope, of the President Obama Lifetime Achievement Award. I want to read a little bit of his bio. Can I embarrass you for a minute, sir?
Man,
all right. I'm going to embarrass you because he tried to get me in the beginning. Dr. Conner is a highly sought after international speaker, college professor, and conference host of Vision Summit. Empowering people to overcome obstacles and walk in their unique purpose is the real life message shared by Dr. Eddie Conner, who is a survivor of stage 4 cancer. He transparently shares his journey of overcoming cancer as a spokesman for the American Cancer Society. As the founder of Dr. Eddie's Academy, he facilitates master classes on faith, identity, relationships, and speaker training sessions. I might have to go to that. He also served as the president of the National Entrepreneurs Association of Michigan, as an author of 14, you hear that? 14 best-selling books. Dr. Conner has been featured on ABC, BET, CBS, Ebony, Fox, Jet, Lifetime, TV, NBC, PBS, The Steve Harvey TV Show, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, The Huffington Post, USA Today, and Mentoring Kings. He has been a guest on The Potter's Touch and was an empowerment speaker at Bishop T.D. Jakes' MegaFest. He was featured in the acclaimed BET documentary, It Takes a Village to Raise Detroit. Dr. Conner is the founder of the mentoring programs Boys to Books and Gifted for Greatness, which empowers young males via literacy, leadership, and life skills enrichment. And as an aide to former U.S. Congressman Hanson Clark, Dr. Conner assisted in crafting a bipartisan resolution to address the urgent crisis of illiteracy in America. Dr. Conner is the recipient of the President Barack Obama Volunteer Service Award and the President Barack Obama Lifetime Achievement Award from the White House. Dr. Conner is recognized as one of the top 35 millennial influencers in America, listed in the top 100 leaders in Who's Who in Black Detroit, named to Michigan Chronicles Top 40 Under 40, and Author of the Year by Kingdom Image Awards. That, sir, is a hefty resume. To what do we owe the honor of your presence here today?
I am authentically embarrassed. Authentically Detroit.
Well, that's the goal. I want to do you justice, and I want to make sure that our listeners, have a proper introduction to who you are, what you're about, and all of the work, all of the prolific work that you are a part of. But my first question to you, man, and all of those accolades, I think about, where the grounding source is. Yeah. So my first question is, who raised you? Like who your parents?
Yeah, I got to show love to my mama, Dr. Janice Conner, who is a straight up general.
Okay, so doctors running the family.
Yeah,
okay,
runs
gotcha.
the family, right?
Right.
Yeah, she's a retired educator, 30 years special education. So I couldn't even bring home a B hardly. I'd be on punishment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so she praying mama and educator, prayer warrior and educator, and she really instilled that in me, respect and caring for my community as well, for the least of these, and understanding that this life that I have is a privilege. A lot of obstacles that she overcame, raising myself and my brother, growing up in a divorced household. And so she just did it, and so it's a salute to her. And Mother's Day is every day.
Mother's Day is every day in your life. I know that's right. So y'all, where y'all from? East side, west side? Where y'all from?
West side.
The west side? Okay,
West
forgiven.
side Detroit. But I live on the east side now.
Okay,
I've been here for 10 plus years on the east. So I'm a surrogate son of the city.
You're an East Sider.
Yeah,
10 plus
sure.
years, you're East Sider.
Yeah,
so mama raised you and your brother.
Absolutely.
Right. Biggest lesson.
Other than don't talk back to her.
Right. You better not.
Right.
Ooh.
Right. Biggest lesson is I would just say the value, the worth, and the grandeur and greatness embodied in a woman. In her 5'3" frame, but she holds so much power. That she really showed me that despite how people look at you, despite how the world has castigated you, you got to recognize that there's a gift inside of you. And she helped me to discover that, and she loved me through what I went through when I wanted to die, when I wanted to give up. She loved me enough to fight for me when I didn't want to fight for myself.
Yeah. You said something that was really interesting, and I think about the plight of the black mother, right? And the black mother who, has to raise, if she's blessed with it, sons, black men, sons, right? I always say this, that I have the luxury of going to sleep with my phone on do not disturb. I don't want to be bothered, but I don't got no kids. My mother does not have that luxury, right? Because she has black sons, and the burden that they carry, right, in raising us, especially if they're raising us by themselves, right, and keeping you safe, but also building you up when the world tears you down. Yeah. Talk a little bit about that.
I mean, I've had my brushes with the law, and
not Dr. Eddie Connor.
Well, not in that aspect.
No,
No, I mean, even to this day, if I'm followed by a police officer and I know I ain't doing nothing wrong, I'm gonna dip off into some parking lot or some gas station. And my mother always told me about, it's better to comply than to die. And to
what?
To be able to talk, to fight about it later as you're alive, because she didn't want me to die as I was already dealing with cancer. So just get home safely, was her aspect, and dealing with a knuckleheaded son whose favorite two classes in school were gym and lunch. You know what I'm saying? So understand that I'm in a precarious plight between purpose and precarious situations, and not having a father guidance in my life at that time. Her trying to play both roles. Women can't teach a man how to be a son, but she can sure enough get close.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's better to have one good parent than two bad ones.
Yeah.
And so understanding that the greatest parent is transparent. She's very, very transparent in how she has always raised me. And, I take that to heart. And it's become the compass of how I live my life. There's a quote that says, in this Women's History Month, no nation can rise without its women. And so without mothers like her, where would you and I even be?
And even in the United States, this nation can't rise and stay risen without black women.
Facts.
Let's be very specific about that.
Right.
I'm excited to talk to you because we're already getting a ton of Eddie-isms. That's what I call them. And I cannot wait.
Well, you got a few Bailey-isms too, though.
No, I don't. But
Bailey bars.
Yo, we coining that. All right, I'm giving you credit. I'm gonna cite the source. I'm writing that right now. Bailey got bars. Bailey got bars.
There you go.
I want to talk about, I think at one point it was, a silent epidemic for a lot of us black millennials, right? And if we remember, spaces like Teen Summit and, other programs on BET, and even, in the early 2010s, Iyanla talking about, this problem of fatherless sons, right? Yeah. And some of the issues and the trauma that comes from having an absent father, or having a father that and that you but you don't see, right? And all that comes with that, and how that trauma proliferates into the world in the form of something else, right? How did you not become that typical hurt, acting out, fatherless child growing up, and even as an adult, because we carry these traumas into our adulthood, right? How did you deal with not having your dad, man?
It's tough because for a while I did carry that. I was very, very bitter towards my father, and the question becomes, how do you play a role if you weren't given a script? How do you become a man if you don't see one, much less interact with one? And the man who I looked like the most seemingly cared for me the least. And having to fight through that identity crisis, self-concept, self-esteem, that's all rooted in who you come from, your father. Dr. Joy DeGroy talks about it in her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome.
Yeah.
We are in adulthood, or we have experience in childhood. It is the trauma that we carry in our DNA that's passed from generation to generation. And so having to reparent myself, having to surround myself with positive male mentors, beyond the cats in the street who I thought were the preeminent people to follow, and understanding, hey, I can't go down that path. I got to take the quote unquote, as they say, the square route, versus just going on the gangster path. Educating myself. Self-education is going to make you a living. Formal education is going to make you a living. Self-education is going to make you a fortune. And so surrounding myself with other positive male role models or virtual male role models who had already been where I'm trying to go, kind of really became the ingredient for me. And writing my first book helped me to heal and forgive a father who had never even given me an apology.
So,
yeah.
How can you forgive when there is no apology? That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Name of the first book?
Finding the Can of Cancer. And I write about how my father never even visited me one day in the hospital as I'm going through chemotherapy, radiation, diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Okay, so take us back to when you got this diagnosis. How old were you? When was it? Where were you? And take us through the subsequent events for you to beat stage 4 cancer.
Oh, I mean, what a murky path, precarious place to be in, because I was just a kid in school. I'm playing, getting ready to play varsity basketball, running cross country, and I'm having these chest pains. And I just, like I was saying, my favorite 2 classes in school were gym and lunch. I love chasing girls in gym, sit down and eat with them at lunch. And I'm lethargic in class. I pretty much love school, being around everybody, and I'm sleeping in class, and I'm dealing with this chest pain. But I hear in my mind, as a boy becoming a man, don't talk about the pain that you go through. As your boy, especially being a black boy, don't cry. That's for girls. Keep your pain. Pain is weakness leaving the body. And I didn't want to tell anybody about it. And it's been about 2 weeks as I was dealing with this pain. I'm on a holiday break, Christmas vacation. I'm over at my friend's house watching a football game. I can't breathe watching a football game by halftime. It feels like somebody's stabbing me in my heart. Rewind the time about a week ago. I'm in the hallway and at the house, and my mama stops me. She says, "You ain't been the same son that I'm accustomed to. You don't seem like you're right. Is everything okay?" And of course, I'm gonna say, "Yeah, I'm good." And his mother takes me to the hospital. My mother meets me there. They're doing a CT scan of the chest, and I think it was gonna be a misdiagnosis because the doctor says you probably just have a punctured lung. I'm like, no. I've had this pain that I'm feeling that I don't know what is going on. Doctors swirling everywhere, nurses, and they do an X-ray, and they find out as they take me to surgery, they got to do it immediately, that they see my cells in my body growing so fast they could see them growing with the naked eye. Around my heart, it was around my trachea, my esophagus, my voice box, and I use my voice for a living as you do, and that's where the tumor was growing. And I felt great coming out of surgery. The doctor says, "Eddie, no, you're not going to play basketball, run cross country right now. Don't even think about going to school. You have what we call NHL." I'm getting ready to be the youngest owner of a National Hockey League team. I'm like, what in the world is that? I'm getting ready to be the youngest owner of the Red Wings. He says, "No, you have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma." I'm like, "Doc, my first language is Ebonics. I'm still trying to learn English." "What do you mean?" He says, "You have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. I'm filling my pockets to find $4. He says, "You have stage 4 cancer." I'm fighting for my life when it seemed like I just started my life. And long story short, chemo, radiation 5 days a week, spinal taps, nausea, of course, the chemo, radiation, losing my hair, my self-confidence, self-esteem. I didn't want to fight this disease. You talk about depression, mental discombobulation, going through something that you wouldn't even wish on your worst enemy.
So talk a little bit about that, this forced confrontation with your own mortality.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember I looked into the mirror one day, and I'd gotten bouts of chemo and radiation, and I would always go to sleep with a wave cap on.
Oh, yeah, because that's what we did.
Yeah, that's what we did. For sure.
Especially when the air was short. Oh,
right,
yeah, the waves going to be tight.
Absolutely. I'm going to be tight, and I'm going to be right. I said, "No, this chemo ain't taking my hair out." I'd gotten bouts of cancer, bouts of chemo. I said, the doctor says, "You're probably going to lose your hair." I said, "Man, it's been 2 weeks. I'm good.
Yeah.
I wake up one morning, and I'm looking at my white pillowcase. I'm looking at hair follicles, and I take off the wave cap, and it's a clump of hair in my hand. I'm running to the bathroom so fast, like Usain Bolt. I bolt to the bathroom, and I look, and half of my hair is gone off my head. And the cry that I let out was unimaginable. I haven't cried like that since. My mother comes in and rushes in me, grabs me and embraces me and just holds me as I'm crying in her arms. Such a vulnerable moment for me. And she said, son, it's going to be all right. I love you through this. You're going to make it. And that's all I had was her. People I thought were praying for me, literally praying on me. They gave up on me. I remember coming out of cancer. I'm in a convenience store. A guy inconvenienced me. He walks up to me. He says, didn't say what up, though. Didn't say what's good. Didn't say hello. He just walks up to me. He said, I thought you died. I was getting ready to have a Will Smith, Chris Rock moment. And I wasn't going to be Chris. You feel me? I had such a heat rush. My fist balled up. I didn't even know what emotional intelligence was at that time.
Of course.
And I had to exercise it. And it was just it just reminded me so many people gave up on me, and I was one of the ones who did as well. And to resurrect hope, all you need is just that one person. And that one person for me was my mother.
Man, a black man and his mama.
Yeah, I'm telling you. You think about George Floyd. You think about Tyree Nichols. Who did they call out to?
They mama.
They mama.
They mama.
You know? And that's who I called out to in my situation where something was killing me from the inside out.
So you come out of it as a young person.
Yeah.
And you continue your education.
Yeah. I got to Eastern Michigan on probation.
Oh, wow.
I told you, favorite 2-class school with gym and lunch, and my grades reflected it.
That's right. You did go to EMU.
Yeah, I went to EMU. Yeah, Eagles,
we shared
man.
that. Yeah, Eagles all day. Yeah. And you got your PhD.
Right, yeah.
So the doctor.
Yeah.
The doctor.
Yeah.
And so when we come back, I want to talk to you about what you've been doing on the other side of that PhD, on the other side of cancer, and on the other side of coming out of this wicked disease, man. It takes out so many people. I hate it. Yeah. I hate cancer. But more with Dr. Eddie Conner when we return. We'll be right back.
Founded in 2021, the Stoudemire is a membership-based community recreation and wellness center centrally located on the east side of Detroit. Membership in the Stoudemire is available on a sliding scale for up to $20 per year or 20 hours of volunteer time. The Stoudemire offers art, dance, and fitness classes, community meetings and events, resource fairs, pop-up events, the Neighborhood Tech Hub, and more. Members who are residents of the east side have access to exclusive services in the Wellness Network. Join today and live well, play well, be well. Visit ecndetroit.org.
Have you always dreamed of being on the airwaves? Well, the Detroit Eastside Engaged Podcast Network, or DEEP for short, is here to make that dream a reality. Located inside the Stoudemire, the DEEP Network offers studio space and production staff to help get your podcast idea off the ground. Doesn't take a whole lot of work to get started. Just visit the Authentically Detroit page at ecn-detroit.org or call Sarah at 313-948-0344.
Welcome back to Authentically Detroit with the great Dr. Eddie Conner. 14 books.
Yeah.
You like to write for somebody who didn't like anything but gym and lunch. So how did this happen? How did you become an author of 14 books, right?
Yeah.
When did you release your first book?
It was 2005.
So
yeah.
From 2005, right?
Yeah.
To through 2023, this man has released 14 books, and some of us could barely write a paragraph.
I still struggle sometimes.
Let alone a book. Okay, take us on this journey, man. When did you decide that you were going to be an author?
Here's the thing: I never wanted to be a writer.
Mm-hmm.
It was the loving nudging of a mother's hand in my back, saying, "You need to write your story," and me procrastinating. I'm one of the biggest procrastinators you could probably ever meet.
Lies.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
I had to read a 300-page book one day for anthropology class, and I waited till the day of finals. Ain't nobody beating that. So she was saying, hey, you got to write your story. It's not just for you. It's to bless somebody. And I started falling in love with the writing process because it became so therapeutic for me. I didn't have therapy at that time. I was only putting my pain on paper.
We didn't have that consciousness.
Didn't have it
in 2005.
No.
Black men especially. We
At
didn't
all.
have the consciousness to be like, oh man, I need to go talk to somebody. It just
Right.
wasn't. It wasn't there.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. And so the reader became my therapist. I was able to emote and express the pain that I had in my heart and put it on pages. And after I said, this is going to be the only book I write. This is to get my mom off my back. And of course, after you write the first one, everybody asking when the second one coming. And you could have never told me. And I'm sure you got a prophetic gift, but you could have never told me that I would have been in number 14 by now.
But you know what's interesting is the evolution of your subject matter.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's really clear. So I don't want to give it away. I don't want to bury the lead. I'm gonna let you introduce us to that evolution. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've written on everything seemingly from the plight of the black woman, how we need to love her, in my series, Dear Queen, Volume 1 and 2.
Where did that consciousness come from, beside Mama?
I think it came from the fact of watching our sisters have upward mobility, seeing them outnumber us even as black men on college campuses, being the largest homeowners in Atlanta, being the ones who graduate from college and eclipsing any
They're
other
the most educated
segment
in the United States.
Yeah. And so it was just kind of an elephant in the room, especially as I was doing a lot of women empowerment seminars, for me to write about the topic and the subject matter. And so that really kind of became eye-opening and really, kind of maybe put me on the map a little bit in my writing. Then I've written
A little bit. Okay. Did y'all hear his bio? Go ahead. I'm listening.
Man, well, and then also I've written about My Brother's Keeper, me working with former President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative, developing some of the language for that through my mentorship of black boys through Boys to Books.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So this inclination, this proclivity to mentor folks coming up under you, especially boys, where did it come from?
Totally because of what I didn't have.
Yeah.
It's kind of me mentoring my 13, 14, 15-year-old self as I was just lost in the sauce. Not knowing who I am, no clarity on my character, no clarity on what I wanted to do in life and who I was going to become, much less what does it even mean to be a man. So I wanted to really pass the baton and kind of be that surrogate father figure, much less big brother, mentor to a lot of young brothers who were just like me. Yeah. And I taught as an educator for 12 years in the classroom. And what I saw was when young boys open up a book, they close their eyes. Because oftentimes the language and the literature is not culturally relevant. As we talk about culturally relevant pedagogy, Walter D. Myers written over 100 books.
Man,
I got a long way to go.
My favorite.
Yes.
Coming up.
Yeah.
Right? I had to seek that out.
Yeah.
Right. Walter D. Myers was not assigned reading in any of my literature courses.
Me neither.
Christopher Paul Curtis was not assigned reading in any of my literature courses. I literally had to seek that out. Now young folks have the likes of Jason Reynolds, who is just another prolific brother. He pumps out 2-3 books a year, but they close their eyes because there's no connection.
No connection.
Yeah.
Right. As he said, books transmit values. If I'm not in the book, what does that say about my value?
Man.
Yeah, that's a Walter D. Myers quote. I can't take credit for that one.
Okay.
It's so nice.
Monster? What?
Monster? Come on now. Right. Exposing our brothers to that type of literature. A Tupac Shakur, rose that grow through the concrete. They, all of this that led us to
it's
a young
all
brother.
literature. Yeah,
all of it.
Yeah.
And so to see how their lives and their eyes open up to say, wow, Newark, New Jersey, from a hood and a community like me, hearing sounds of gun clapping, he ain't have his father, and they still, the book, The Pact. These brothers made a pact to each other to become medical doctors, right? And so, but still connecting them to the sports and the entertainment and all that, but using literacy as a bridge to say, hey, bro, let's check out this language right here. But I'm also able to discover where our young brothers have been crippled in the 9th grade with a 3rd grade reading level because they were just passed on. Nobody wanted to deal with the issue that was affecting Jamal and Rodney and Ray Ray.
All our names.
Feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, what's so important is to provide that kind of visibility. I think innately everyone wants to be seen, heard, and understood. And literature has the power to give sight to so many people, right? And so many stories and so many different ways of life. But that's not freely given. It has to be sought out. So for you to stand in a gap and say, here, I see you, and in this book, you're going to see yourself too, right? You know what I mean? Like that is powerful. I want to know from you though, because every time I'm around young folks, I learn just as much as I'm trying to impart. What have they taught you? What have young people taught Dr. Eddie Connor?
Whew, that's good. I've never been asked that question before.
You never had an interview with Orlando.
That's true. That's true. That Bailey Bar. We need a buzzer.
Bailey Bar. I was ready.
Yeah, you know, I think they taught me to the power of imagination. Because Pablo Picasso said one of the tragedies of adulthood is trying to maintain your inner genius and your childlike ability as you get older.
Because the world strips it from you.
Yeah, yeah. And oftentimes the poorest person, not the one without a dime, is the one without a dream. And to see the resolute resolve that these young people have to still maintain a dream when oftentimes they're coming from a nightmare situations and instances and places where they're coming to school crying, where they haven't had breakfast, lunch, or dinner in maybe a couple of days, where they have to walk to school because they come from a blighted community and there's no street lights. You know, to where there's domestic violence that may be in the home, and still have that resolve to say, in the midst of maybe sometimes the emotional disturbances and things of that nature, to understand that, hey, I can still make it. I'm going to still try to be a basketball player, a football star, or a lawyer, or a doctor, or a judge, and maintain that imagination despite their situation.
Man, you know, I love that. And I think imagining is a radical act. I do. And I think that we have to continue to create spaces for us to imagine and for us to dream, right? Because oftentimes the realities of the present are so harsh, we have to have that space to dream about what could be. And the cool thing about young people, despite what they're up against, they don't have this cynicism that people like you or people like me would struggle with a little bit of age. For them, anything is possible, right? And so, you know, you having this platform, Boys to Books, being able to prop up that imagination, right, and support it, is super dope.
Oh man,
it's super dope. Talk to me about this President Obama Lifetime Achievement Award, because number one, that's just huge. You worked on the MBK, so did I. That's fun, right? That's huge, right? I know you're a little bit older than me, but you know, when did you find out you were getting honored by President Obama, and your lifetime ain't you know what I mean? Like some folks would say you ain't lived a lifetime. Like, what are you doing getting a Lifetime Achievement Award?
Exactly.
Yeah. Tell us.
You know, it first started because it started with the President Obama Volunteer Service Award through an organization called Be Me, Black Male Engagement.
Yeah, man.
And I was one of 62 black men in America who was chosen to receive an honor, just to give veracity to the aspect that black men are not predators, but we're providers. You know, we're not perpetrators, we're protectors. We're actually doing good in our neighborhoods. And it's not just one, it's a multiplicity of us. And so to bring us all together to even receive it, I mean, it was just an incredible footnote, memorable experience in my life.
My Be Me brother.
Yeah.
Shout out to Travian Shorters.
Yeah, shout out to Travian Shorters, man. Travian Shorters, I mean.
Prolific. Another one. Yeah. Another one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The asset framing and us, that we're assets, not liabilities.
Gave me language. Gave me language I didn't have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Especially for those of us doing work in the nonprofit work, in the nonprofit space. You know, we gotta sexify the problem. You know what I'm saying? We got to make the problem sexy
Yeah.
to make people want to fund it. And we start there. And Travian is like, y'all doing it wrong, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So what you got coming up? What's next?
What's next is there's a book coming out. I'm getting ready to put out my 15th one. And I know I did 2 last year, February and June. And I felt like I procrastinated on this one, but I knew I had to do it. It's called Identity. I'm looking at May 23rd is the release date, but Identity: Keys to Discover Your Uniqueness and Unlock Your Greatness. The book is really a journey of self-discovery. It's kind of the Discovery Channel in book form. It's,
Okay.
It's personally exploratory. It empowers you to access the science of your existence to make a difference. The book is also a way that you find your space of how to serve and succeed. It's really how to put your dream in drive and channel that energy to really walk by faith into your destiny. And so I wanted to really look at who we are, who we used to be, and who we're becoming, and really define the essence of who it is that they are to the granular level of their core being. Yeah.
That is amazing. The 15th book.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to me about your writing. Like, where do you go to write? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, how does this happen? You put out 1-2 books a year. How does this happen?
Well, the thing is, I have to feel a certain level of inspiration about the book. I have to, generally it comes to me as a title. It just comes from God, definitely. It just drops on me. I could just be driving. I could just be riding. I could be washing my hands. It's kind of like Michael Jackson. They asked him, how did he come up with the beat for Billie Jean? He said, I was just driving down Rodeo Drive, and all I heard was doom, doom, doom. And then he just put context to it. He put language to it. There it is.
Not Rodeo.
Right.
All right, Mike.
In Cali, man. So my California is my home. I'm just cooped up in the crib. And once I get the idea and I get the subtitle, the chapters come, and then I just take the time to write. Sometimes I'm writing 8 to 10 hours a day. And that's multiple days out of the week. And I write specifically off of inspiration. It's like a puzzle to me, and I'm just putting the word together. I really don't have writer's block. A lot of people complain about writer's block. For me, writer's block is just driving around the block. Let me go around the corner of this particular idea, this context, this concept, and then I can weave it together some way or some shape, form down the line. It all comes together for me.
Yeah, it's a tremendous accomplishment to start something and to finish it 15 times.
Yeah, right.
Do you teach people how to write books and how to get published and all of that?
I have. There's been a ardent clarion call for me to start doing that even more. People wanted to see me do it in sessions. I remember I actually did a session about a year or so ago, and it was really well attended, virtual space and place to be able to share with people how to develop a book and what the writing concept and structure is all about. Because a lot of people struggle with procrastination. 80% of people want to write books. Not 80% of people are doing them, though. So to start something and finish it, hey, I've only been able to do it 15 times. 15 times I found inspiration. So I'm blessed to do that.
All right, y'all. Yeah. Identity: Keys to Discover Your Uniqueness and Unlock Your Greatness. Yeah. Will be on sale what day?
May 23rd, 5/23/23.
Okay, where can they get it?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, Audible. So it'll be an ebook, audiobook, a hard copy. Yeah.
Who read it? You? Did you read your audiobook?
Yeah, I read it. Yeah, it's
so
me.
Y'all gonna
it's
get this
me.
voice. Y'all gonna get the Billy D voice.
Well, it ain't the LB voice, but it is.
Man, we got to get you in Source, man. We got to get you in Source booksellers here in Midtown, man.
For sure.
You know, Miss Janet over there in Source, a black woman. Miss Allison, another black woman. I mean, really phenomenal space. You know, the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and we're running out of time, but you know, it's always, you know, the hot topic, and you give a lot of advice. You give a lot of relationship advice, right? We've seen you on Steve Harvey. We've seen you at the Essence Fest. I mean, my guy is booked, bro. He's booked and busy, right? So talk to us a little bit about what you want really quickly, because we only got a few minutes left. What a man and a woman needs to be in a successful relationship.
I think they both need to define who it is that they are. A lot of times we're looking for somebody to complete us. Only God does that. Person shouldn't complete you. They can only compliment you. And so I think purpose is that key ingredient. You don't have to do the same thing. You just need to define what you do in your own way. You can't expect a purpose partner if you have not first partnered with your purpose. And so I think as two becoming one, it is friction. But I believe once you both know what you want, who it is that you are, I think you can find some common ground and understand that compatibility is beyond attractability. It's got to be the key to purpose.
Ooh. Our audio engineer is in there. You can't see him. He in there snapping his fingers.
I appreciate the love.
It's beyond the attractability. That's a nice button on this conversation. Listen, I want to let you know that if you have topics that you want discussed on this podcast, you can hit us up on our socials at Authentically Detroit on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Or you can email us at authenticallydetroit@gmail.com. Dr. Eddie Connor.
It's an honor, brother.
Thank you for sitting across from me today, man.
I appreciate it. This is one of the crown and jewels. This is going on in the bio for me.
Man, whatever.
I'm interviewed by a by Emmy Award winner, Pulitzer Prize to be.
It is
amazing journalist. That is. I appreciate you.
It's
brother.
time for shout outs. So Donna is absent. So my first shout out will be to her. Donna, I hope you enjoy your time away, but get back soon. Enjoy, but don't enjoy too much. We need you back here. Okay. I want to also talk about an event that I'm happening to be the host of. So as you all know, in another life, I moonlight as the host of the Urban Consulate here in the city of Detroit. And on April the 5th, we have an evening with Jason Reynolds planned. He just finished out his term as the Library of Congress's National Ambassador for Young People's Literature. Just last year, a #1 New York Times bestselling author, a poet, a teacher, and a dope cultural critic and Black man. And I'm going to be sitting across from him in front of a sold-out Garden Theater. We sold out the Garden. So April the 5th, we are going to be releasing some more seats. So go to urbanconsulate.com to sign up, to get on that wait list before we release any more seats. But we want you to stay tuned because there's going to be more fanfare, more stories coming out of that. We will also be premiering a series that we're going to announce there entitled In Session, where some amazing Black change makers and wisdom sharers are going to share their expertise around equitable development, activist architecture, amplifying Black voices, and things like participatory budgeting and creating change from the ground up. So be on the lookout for that April the 5th. I am so excited to sit on stage across from Jason Reynolds. And also, another announcement, on April the 18th, we will be hosting a youth forum on public safety here in the city of Detroit. Young people have a different take on what it means to be and feel safe, and we want to hear from the young people. That's going to be at the Chroma Detroit from 6 to 8, and we're going to feed the young folks. So come on out, tell your young folks about it. We want to see them on April the 18th. Eddie, you got any shout-outs, man?
Man, I got to shout out amazing publicist, Kelly Sane, who's doing insane work, and all my people who are part of my amazing Eagles Academy. For those who'd like to be a part of it, it's an amazing academy where we focus on influence, ideas, impact, and also increasing your income. You can join us by registering. The revolution not only be televised, it'll be digitized. www.theeaglesacademy.com. Follow your boy, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We don't stop at Eddie Connor Jr.
All right, y'all. We thank you so much for listening. Until next time, we want you to catch the wave.